Namaste Hero.
Welcome to this paradigm.
Welcome to this paradigm.
Everything is under umbrella of building new paradigm, a new way of being. So I work with the leaders of new paradigm, of new earth, if you will, that are here to build businesses, organizations, companies.
This is amazing information, so much information.
Yeah, when we were living in a cage, it was all about survival.
People are killing each other for food, for this, for that. Is it true or is it false?
Truly being in alignment with their higher self, with their higher consciousness and their human self, so that they can own their power and fully follow through on their mission that they're here to serve.
So, Namaste Hero. So, I call everyone a hero on my channel. So, you are one of the heroes, so I wanted to bring you in and showcase everyone here. So it's been amazing. We met online, I think, on Instagram, and we connected. I would love to know more things about you, and so would everyone else. So can you quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Maddie, for having me here, and thank you for introduction. So, yeah, basically, from many things and spectrums that I do, everything is under umbrella of building new paradigm, a new way of being. So I work with the leaders of new paradigm, of new earth, if you will, that are here to build businesses, organizations, companies, that are here to anchor and build new way of being for people, for humanity, and for Mother Gaia. So I work with people, with leaders in two ways. One is directly with their energetics and with their perception and their consciousness, right? So it's more about creating the inner alignment and getting them into a place of permanent centeredness so that they are aligned within themselves, right? Not just like wanting something on a mind level, but experiencing a resistance internally, but truly being in alignment with their higher self, with their higher consciousness, and their human self, so that they can own their power and fully follow through on their mission that they're here to serve. And the other aspect is working in support.
I would love to go step by step because this is amazing information, so much information.
Yeah.
I would love to break this step by step. So first of all, you told me building a new paradigm.
Yeah.
This is interesting to me and to everyone. I think this sounds fascinating. I would love for you to define this. How can someone build a new paradise or paradigm?
Paradigm, a new way of being.
So a new way of being. So let's say now the way of being, everyone, how is it and how is it new from different one that you're talking about?
Right, yeah, great question. So predominantly, if we reflect back on, the past few generations, the energetics and way of being, a lot of it was anchored in the way of being of and frequency, energetical frequency of fear, lack, scarcity, right? It is anchored in separation. Like I'm here and my desires are there. I'm separate from others. I'm separate from the divine, the energetical field. I'm just this one little human self struggling and pushing forward, right? So it's a lot of ego-based, right? Just self-centered and not aware of the infinite intelligent field that we all are part of.
Wow, that's amazing. So this, does it used to happen in a certain century that you can particularly point on?
Humanity, if you we're back, to the caveman age, when we were living in a cage, it was all about survival, right? So as a humanity at that point, we were in the root chakra. So the lessons of it was safety, survival, food, basic needs, and we were predominantly operating from our reptilian brain to just survive, right? Ego-based.
Yeah.
Then we transitioned into what? Sacral chakra, which is all about relationships, sexuality, and connecting with others, right? Building tribes, building families, expanding into it. Yes, exactly. Then we moved into what? Solar plexus, the chakra, energetical center of self-identity, right? So now we are building this industrial world, and everyone is hustling and bustling and making it happen and making money. Like I'm the successful man, I'm the successful woman, right? So we're learning one by one by one, and obviously this has been going for many centuries. And now humanity is transitioning into Age of Aquarius, right? And we are shifting into heart chakra. So not only we are shifting from more of this industrial, masculine structure, go, energetical way of being and perception, we're shifting into heart, which is, so the first three chakras, these are, as we're speaking, if we're speaking about the higher consciousness and as soul lands into your human self, the three first chakras are basically egoic chakras, right? Because they are responsible of how we operate in the physical world. When we're moving into heart chakra, it's all about becoming aware and opening this energetical center to energetical field. Right, so our physical heart is right. So our brain is an energy receiver and transmitter. Heart as well, right? So physical heart is responsible to co-create with the field, but also like intuition and those kind of things. But also the energetical chakra, heart chakra, is responsible to communicate with it. So it's literally technology.
Wow, so this is interesting. Okay, I love the information that you're putting up. It's so much interesting. And okay, coming back to again, so how are we transitioning from one chakra to another? Like, how does that happen over time? Or?
What I'm kind of describing more are the themes, right? Right. So it's not that you as individual are transitioning, but right. But as a collective, what I've been describing, it's more as a collective, right? We will transition from heart to throat to third eye to crown, and this is where we are going, deeper into talking about dimensions beyond 3D and so on. But this is as a collective, not talking about as individuals, as a collective. We are learning how to start to operate not from fear, not from survival, not as individuals, but as one with the unified field of intelligence, so that we start to go beyond the physical, so that we start to activate our psychic abilities, our extra perception, and co-creating with the untangible realms, right? And obviously connecting with other people, soul family, and so on.
Amazing. So this is interesting. But what I've heard is, as we are moving towards the heart chakra and above, people are also saying we would shift to a place again where people are killing each other for food, for this, for that. Is it true or is it false? I just want to ask you, because I'm scared.
Yeah. In my humble opinion, in my perception of reality, I view the world, my reality, as frequency, right? It's not that I look at the physical and then I'm like getting scared. I know that everything starts in the fabric of reality, sound, and then it all manifests into frequency. Frequency manifests into shapes, forms, geometries, and then it drops mental, emotional states, energetical state basically manifests as a physical. So I'm not going to be worried about what's happening in the physical, because I know all the frequencies are possible in the unified field. And the way I will personally, as an individual, experience reality, how the reality will manifest for me, is based on the frequency I emanate, right? So one is the frequency I personally hold in my bioenergetical field, will identify what type of experience I pull into my field from all available possibilities. And then also based on the lens of perception, I will perceive it certain way.
I love this, and I think I'm together with you on this point, truly. But with the friends or people that I surround with, some of them,
yeah,
they are funny maybe,
Yeah.
I cannot say they're negative, but they're very funny, and they're like, okay, like their frequency is good, and their intentions or their thinking is perfect, and now they're thinking in a way like, what if there's scarcity of food, this,
Yeah.
that, this,
Yeah.
that. But I mean, if it is gonna happen, it happens, right? Like we can't change the reality.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm here to anchor and embody and be the role model for a new way of being. Because the frequency, it's not just about what you think. Like 80% is your unconscious, is your DNA, is your mental state, emotional, what type of frequency you carry from your ancestral, what type of frequency you carry in your bloodline. So if you've been raised with a lot of fear, and that's the frequency you emanate from your unconscious field, the fact that you're thinking and are having the scarcity-based thoughts, you're still anchored in the old way of being, which is not good or bad.
Makes sense.
There's no good or bad. All are valid. It's for you have to decide what type of reality you personally desire to experience.
Amazing. I think I'm literally on the same path as you, because I do the same. Any tips for these people who are watching who have mixed kind of thoughts or emotions about this?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I'm an expert and you should listen to me, right? I want people to be autonomous. I want people to own their power and choose for themselves. So for me, I always say, what do you want? Because maybe these people who are positive, but they're having these scarcity thoughts, well, that's their path, and they need to arrive to the certain point of their path in their life where they start to question, why do I think this way? I'm not tired. For how long I'm going to be telling myself these stories and live in fear? And when they are ready for a better way of being, then they can choose. And I will give point of tips, how do we choose way of being. I'm not suggesting that you are in fear and you're wrong and you need to think this way. No. When you are ready, when you had enough of scarcity and you're I'm done with it and I'm ready to actually co-create with the field. And and this is the tip, so many people think that they have, and that's part of the conditioning and programming, that they have to work hard for a better way of being, for money or whatever, that it's not going to work for them. What was the, no pain, no gain, or whatever is the, of course, if that's what you believe, that's what you're going to get.
Simple as that.
Right. And I've gone through that myself. It's not that I'm love and light and I'm ungrounded. No, it's all about bringing the two and weaving the two, the physical matter and non-physical energy. And I know, and I've done a lot of healing on myself to be even able to anchor those belief systems in myself and become an energetical match to know there's nothing wrong if I allow the universe to provide for me, if I allow myself to receive. And you know what? I'm here, a humble servant for the divine. I'm vessel that is available for the universe, God, infinite, whatever you want to call it, to come to me, through me, and into the world, to other people, to serve through me. So of course the divine wants me to win. Of course the divine wants to provide me and give me all the resources, opportunities, the right people. My task is to integrate my ego so that it doesn't get in the way with its fearful belief systems, right? So that I'm just available and not taken over by the noise of the fear or opinions of external world, projections of external world with their scarcity. But I'm centered, aligned, grounded. I'm so present. I'm so in tune with myself and the field so that when the inspiration or the sign, the synchronicity comes in, boom, I'm on it. I'm able to perceive it and I'm able to respond.
That's amazing. I would love for you to tell me how you can be able to do this, because this is very important, getting centered and aligned. To me literally as well, I'm always thinking positive. I'm always thinking that if I'm reaching late somewhere, then it's amazing. If I'm reaching early somewhere, it's amazing. So my mentality is like this. If I'm meeting someone in the elevator randomly, I'm like, something will come up amazing.
Yeah.
So I am always like that. So
Yeah.
it is super amazing. First of all, to put up that thought in your mind that everything is working for me. That is very important. I think on a very base level, everyone should do that.
Yeah.
And so to get from you this, how to get this aligned? What is like a quick way, or what do you personally use? Or
Yeah.
do, you know?
In all honesty, I don't think there's a quick fix.
Okay.
What I learned on my journey of myself and working with people, it's not about doing something to get somewhere, to be a certain way. We need to remember, again, my belief system and my personal reality is that humans are manifestation and expression of source consciousness. We are expression of the frequency of love, which is the unified field, right? So if we are that by default as a blueprint, it's not about how do I get there, but how do I remove that which I'm not? So that when the conditioning and the programming and the fear, I release it from my field, naturally, I become clear, pure, aligned. It's about removing the scarcity, the fear, the separation programming, which again, we live in a black and white reality in three-dimensional contrast. But when you go into 4D and become aware of the spirit world, and when you go into 5D and actually become aware, it just your perception, your level of awareness raises to the unseen realms. You become aware that both yin and yang exist, and in yin and yang, the duality is unity. So it's not about you embody. You're fearful, you're scared. No, you're bad. No, it's part of what you are currently experiencing. The question is, does it empower you? Are you happy? If no, well then let's address, and that's the part I do with when I work with leaders. Like, okay, you have the vision. Your heart is registering. Your third eye is registering. Your spirit team, your higher self, is dropping you the information, the guidance on what you're supposed to do on your soul mission. And many people, they're like, oh my goodness, they have received all of this information, but because their egoic deficiencies, the egoic energy center chakras, are still pre-programmed and blocked with trapped emotion, with trauma, stuck, basically stuff. They haven't removed it from their field. It's not able to come in, drop in fully into this physical realm. Hence, the manifestation is not fully happening, and it just stops on a throat level where they talk about it, right? So my biggest tip is the healing. Basically, healing is returning to your natural state of being, which is alignment, which is centered, which is frequency of love, which is unity. So it's not about what do I do to get there. What is in my field that is preventing me from being that, from embodying that?
So you gotta watch your own surrounding and think what you do.
Again, I will shift it from thinking to being to feeling.
So what do you feel as a person?
Yeah.
So so that's amazing. So if I want to do this, I would maybe take a pen and paper and write what do I feel in a day.
Yeah.
And then read it out loud and then understand how am I feeling.
Yeah.
How to make it better.
Yeah. So it is, we are human beings. We're multi-dimensional beings. For some, taking pen and paper and writing it out works. For me, I'm very focused on voice and speaking. So I literally need to speak it out loud. And for example, I want, manifest money or whatever. And let's say I want to go somewhere, right? I want to
go on a vacation.
I want to come to Dubai, but exactly. I'm like, man, I don't know, it's so expensive. I don't have money. How I'm gonna figure out accommodation and all of that, and all of these stories and all of these fears and doubts are coming up, right? So I start addressing one by one. What are those incoherences and distortions in my field that are preventing from me having alignment within myself that this is done, that it is meant to happen, right? And when I address it, and let's say I'm afraid that I don't have money, so that's why I cannot go to Dubai or whatever, right? So one, we either can figure out how you can get money, or other way could be, so one will be addressing fear around money. I'm afraid of having big amounts of money, or I don't believe that I can attract money, whatever. Another way could be like, well, okay, if the divine wants me to be there, I not necessarily need money, and if I allow myself to receive this, I already know that my spirit guides are telling me I'm meant to be somewhere, or I'm meant to do something, or I'm meant to meet someone. I actually don't need the third party, the money, right? The universe will organize anything for you.
Especially a plane ticket.
Accommodation, everything is going to be lined up for you. And at this point I can speak about it with such a conviction because it happened in my life over and over and over again. There has been, majority of my 20s, I was really in the masculine and like feeling that I'm by myself and I need to make it happen because there's no one else who's going to support me.
Well, you're still in your 20s.
I'm not.
Look at you.
I'm not. I'm older. But yeah, and I was pushing and pushing, but you can push through hustle only this far. That if you're really on a big mission, that will only get you this far. You need to allow yourself to co-create with the divine, with the higher intelligence. And, in my experience, it will put you down on your knees at some point if you continue fighting and your ego thinks that it's all about you, little human self. It will put you down on your knees. You'll have a breakdown before you have a breakthrough. And then it will provide when you surrender.
Exactly. I so much believe to this because for me, I'm very delusional. And I'm like, I want to have the best podcast in the world.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And I don't think there's that, when, how, why. No, I'm just towards that.
Yeah.
So I started to practice as well. I started to run 5 kilometers every day in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But some days have been like, I don't want to do it. I'm tired, or like after halfway, I'm like, I'm done. But I'm like, no, let's just get to this. At least 5 kilometers every day.
Yeah.
And then everything is dope now. Like everything is amazing. So I think you have to be delusional and you have to just focus. And of course, you will fall down. Life will break you. Situations maybe sometimes, some people maybe, but then again, it's meant for you to learn something out of it. And of course, if you keep continuing, you will not be far from where you have to be.
Yeah, building that resilience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So we talked about this beautiful thing of how someone can have a perfect mindset in order to do that. I mean, just being yourself.
And like really, so the old, a label of old way of being is based in separation and fear. A new way of being is where
Community building.
Coming to what?
Community building.
Not just community building, but co-creating with the divine. Based in the frequency of love, wholeness, right? It's not just about your little human self. You stop being self-focused, self-centered. You understand, you become aware of so much more beyond the physical, that it's not about you. You're here as a divine servant, as a humble servant of the divine. You're here on a mission. That's the type of the people I work with, right? Leaders who might be delusional because they have so much vision for a new way, for a better way of for humanity, where we are in harmony with ourselves first, that harmony is unity, with others and with the nature, with the planet Earth, right? And that then everything just flows and flourishes.
Wow, I think this is very interesting because I think the example that comes to my mind is Bill Gates. If correct me if I'm right
Okay.
or wrong, because I think he thinks about everyone else and about the earth, about charity, about his business, and I think he's aligning towards that. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So these kind of people basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like for me, on a personal level, if I'm supposed to do anything, is like whenever I have the food, I personally pray to God for thankfulness.
Yeah.
And of course, for other people who are not currently having their food should also get food. And
Yeah.
then I have my food.
Yeah.
Like that's my practice.
I mean, the way I get my reality, before you can become selfless, you need to be selfish first in order to be selfless.
Okay,
Because
that's
we're not serving people from our cup, and we're not serving people from full cup. We're serving people from the overflow. So imagine a cup and there's a saucer, right? And you pour tea, and the cup becomes half full, and then it overflows. And we serve from that unconditionally, not at the cost of ourselves. And this is why it's important to address those base egoic deficiencies first, because if we try to serve at the cost of others, we're actually doing the service to ourselves, and we're doing the service to the others.
So it's important to have a good house, good this, good that, everything good in a way. Yeah, so I get you.
It's not about the house or the stuff, you know.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, let's go for an example wherein I have an amazing house, a big place, wherein I can host people, bring in people, do some activities,
Yeah.
get people to know each other. That's why I want to have a big house.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I love a big house.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what I feel, and that's what you mean. Is that correct?
Yeah, because you can have a big house, but you still can feel, I need more. You still haven't cleared the survival program in yourself. So you're going to be hungry. Your ego is going to be asking for more, because it doesn't feel seen, understood, heard, right? Because you don't have that harmony within yourself, and there's deficiency, a belief system that makes you perceive the world that you don't have enough. And when you perceive the world that you don't have enough, how we can really serve unconditionally others from that place?
I so much believe this. So even like if I have anything, if I get anything, I'm so thankful and grateful that I got this. So
Yeah.
we have to believe of whatever we have at least is super amazing.
Yeah.
And you should be thankful.
Yeah.
I think gratitude is the biggest
Yeah.
practice that
Yeah.
someone should
Yeah.
do. Like in the morning when I wake up, I'm into so much gratitude that I can literally cry out of so many
Beautiful,
things.
beautiful.
So I think
Yeah.
that practice is something
Yeah.
very important that you're highlighting.
Yeah, because you can have a house and you can be scarcity, and you're not, even you have all the stuff and all the resources, you're not able to show up for others because you are in fear. And you can have a freaking a plate of rice, and that's all you have, and you're so grateful for that, and you're so content, and you feel so abundant, and you feel that your cup is overflowing. The way you will be showing up for others, you're showing up from the frequency of overflow, right? So that's what matters, the frequency, the place from which you're coming from. And that's what I identify as a new way of being versus old way of being, or separation versus wholeness.
So that's important, that currently that you're shifting people to that perspective.
It's, again, inner alignment. And that's not about what you have in the physical. Because again, you can be a leader who has a ton of money, but internally you're at like a fight with yourself. You don't have that coherence, and you don't feel that you have enough. Well, dude, like, you're not going to be able to show up for other people the way the divine requires you to show up.
What if someone feels that they have enough, they're still delusional, but they have features like jealousy, this and that. So what about that? Because I literally feel some of them are 50% there. Like the ones who are watching, or maybe me at some point of my life.
Yeah.
So what about that?
Well, I mean, all of that jealousy, arrogance, judgment, all of that is coming from the frequency of fear. It's just like variation. So, for example, arrogance, let's say, right? Why people are arrogant? It's a self-defense mechanism, because deep down inside, they don't feel good enough. They view themselves as not good enough. So they either, it can go well, when somebody embodies that, I'm not good enough, they either will beat themselves up. For example, I made a mistake and I feel like I'm not good enough, and so that other people don't beat myself up and don't scream at me or whatever, I beat myself up. Oh, forgive me, I did such a mistake, and they put themselves down. Or if they don't feel good enough, some will take it the other way, like, I'm the best, and you are so bad, and they will judge other people. Why? Because deep down inside, they judge themselves. So all how people treat others is how they treat themselves. It's just a reflection and insight in what's going on with their perception of self.
Yeah, that's interesting. How you treat others is how you treat yourself.
Yeah.
So guys, be very aware of how you treat yourself at least.
Yeah, so for me, the way I move through the world and the way I interact with other people, I don't judge anyone. Like, who am I to judge anyone, right?
But that's so tough.
But what do I do? What do I do? Like, Maddie, you show up, and the way you present to me, the way who you be, I evaluate. I see by the way you talk to me, by the way you hold yourself, I will be able to just understand where are you anchored in fear or in wholeness already, right? If there's something like you're treating we'll go to a restaurant and you treat badly the waitress, I already know that there's some insecurity or some egoic deficiency going in you. Like, I'm not judging that. That's part of your journey. It's just giving me insight where you're at.
So true. But what if the waiter is like 20 minutes late bringing the food?
It's the way how you're going to communicate it. Are you going to be aggressive, shouting, or you're going to understand, well, she's also a human. I also make mistakes. She made a mistake. Yeah, maybe it's not the best service, but how you're going to treat other person.
That's super interesting, because I'll tell you from my personal experience, what happens is 95% I can be very polite, very nice, even if it's 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
95%.
Yeah.
Because to judge myself. But that 5% is still there that maybe I want to remove. But sometimes I'm like, why should I remove? Because people have been taking advantages of me at certain cases, because I haven't been that strict.
Yeah.
So I'm like...
And the thing is, that's why I work with the leaders, is because operating from a frequency of love doesn't mean love and light and be a doormat. No, you have strong self-boundaries, you're a leader, you are a role model. So you own your power as a divine servant of light. So you embody all of it, humble heart and also willpower, and you're also a warrior. Right? So if you see injustice or something is wrong, you're not like, love and light. No, you own your power. You protect yourself because you have to protect others, right? So and you have to, in order to maintain that frequency, that inner alignment, you know what it's going to cost you? It's going to cost you, not cost you, like, it's about strong boundaries. Because if you allow other people, and this is present really strongly in spiritual communities, to use you, abuse you, take advantage of you, well, guess what? You're not going to be able to stay in your power and be of the highest service, because you allow your energy and your consciousness to leak.
This is super interesting, because this is where me or like some of the people just fall into the well after seeing the well as well, That is how to create boundaries, especially in terms of you having the perspective of giving it to the leaders.
Yeah.
What is the best way, or how do a leader set a boundary?
Good question. And this is why, again, my first brand is spiritually selfish, right? You have to become spiritually selfish in order to be selfless. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't respect yourself, how are you going to show up for others? So it's setting strong boundaries. It's not just about you. You're doing that so that you can be of the highest service. Again, you're thinking long term. You're not self-centered. So if you allow somebody to use you or whatever, take advantage of you, you allow it once and twice, you are again are kind of feeding your limiting belief that you're for some reason not good enough. Like, why are you tolerating it? And you're also doing a disservice for that person, because if you allow them to use you, you are feeding their egoic deficiencies, which are anchored in taking advantage of other people, manipulating other people. And I'm like, no. I see what you're doing, and I'm gonna trigger you. I'm gonna call you out so that you can transmute it and you can actually rise up. So I have no issues with triggering people and being in my power, because I actually want other people to be in the heart frequency, in the wholeness. So when I see somebody misbehaving, it's part of their journey. No issues. I'm not judging it.
You're like,
But I'm not going to be punishing anyone. But I'm going to hold my light, my power so strong so that they can understand it's not okay to use other people. It's not okay to manipulate. And why in the first place am I trying to manipulate someone else? Because deep down inside, they don't believe that they are self-sufficient, right? So they will have an opportunity to become aware of that inner wound, transmute it, and return part of their soul that's left when they experience that trauma, and to understand, again, bring the frequency of wholeness back in them, and then understand they are part of expression of the divine field of intelligence. They have anything that they want, they have access in the field, because all the frequencies are possible. It's a matter of attuning yourself to it. So they have, actually, they understand and embody and remember that they are the expression of divine, and they're self-sufficient, and they can have anything that they want. Why would they go out and manipulate and try to take advantage of the other?
So I think it's basically, it would be confronting him or her.
Yeah.
In a very nice way.
Yeah.
Depending on their personality.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
But before that, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I couldn't confront, because I would think, what if she feels bad, or what if he feels bad? And that was against.
Yeah. Well, that is the conditioning that we receive. Like, oh, don't confront other people. Arguments are bad. I'm like,
exactly.
No. You know what? That's an old conditioning that keeps us all small thinking, based in fear. Don't speak up. Don't speak your voice. I'm like, no, that's all way of being. Why? Because the authorities that put themselves on the pedestal at the top of all the systems to slave humanity, they did that. Right? And I want people to be in their own power. So of course I'm going to confront you, not because I want a fight, but I want you to, I see the life within you. I see your power, and like, dude, rise up.
So this is very interesting. So people who are watching, if they have friends, girlfriends, parents, mom, dad, please understand them. They are not coming from a wrong place. Understand them very well. Confront them. Talk to them about what you feel, what you worry about. Don't keep those emotions inside. Just talk to them very nicely, and then things can be solved.
Yeah,
very easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's again, when I say confront, it's not about shouting or pointing a finger. You point a finger into someone, they get defensive. You will never get anything out of them. Like, never use you in your confrontations. But it's more about bringing their awareness to something that you are experiencing, that they're doing, from a place of love and respect. If we can communicate with love and respect to the other, like, if other person cannot handle it, well, it's okay. They have some work to do. You did your best, and that's it. You know that your intentions are pure.
So that's interesting, because what I do at this point of time is I try my level best to have a relationship dynamic that I really want, after approaching or after just telling that. If it doesn't work out, then I kind of go separate.
Yeah.
And that's the best way?
Well, I'm not God in a sense, to tell you this is the best.
Look at you, you're coming from so much knowledge, and I'm like, okay, yeah, she knows everything.
But that's the thing, you are the one who has the answers.
Exactly.
So you need to tune with yourself. What's the best for you? What's the best for that situation?
Exactly. Makes sense. Makes sense.
As long as I said, as long your intentions are pure and anchored in love, that's what matters.
Exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. That's amazing. So you provide these leaders with a framework, and so do you work with them on a weekly basis, monthly basis? How does it happen? That because this is a shift that needs to happen. How do you make that magic possible?
Yeah, good question. So over the years, I held online, like in events online and offline in person. I, held containers of like courses and programs, and obviously one-on-one. And predominantly now, I'm not promoting it anymore. It's more like happen naturally as the universe brings me the people who want to work or who are needing that one-on-one support. So right now I'm kind of working only with one-on-one people who directly, privately reaches out to me. So, it's either they are needing that support specifically in their, like as individual, or often what also people need support with is like they want to build a business and they have this vision and so on. And like they hire me as a marketing consultant or business, and we have, we're working through the business, but as we're, let's say, approaching a launch program or whatever strategy, all the fears, all the stories start to come up, and it's the same story. We need to address it. If they want to show up, to speak up, to show up on the videos, to start making money and so on, but then there's so much gunk and internal stories that they are carrying, well, they're not able to manifest, right? So either way, we need to address it, and we are addressing it. It's again more like a conversation that we're having, right? So where I guide you, where I ask questions, when we find that resistance and find it where it resides, where it's originated from. Where is it, like in the lower root chakra? Is it in your other chakra? Is it like maybe in your, what's the organ that holds anger? Oh my God, I forgot it.
I'm not good at biology.
Anyway, liver holds anger. Kidneys hold fear, whatever. Like, so either I'm able to guide them if they're pretty connected with their internal intelligence. I'm able to, on a conscious level, to guide them, right? So one of ways I work, I don't encourage any like substances or anything. Like I'm purist myself, and I don't read external information. I don't read books or anything, because part of my journey was learning all of these things by myself, on myself, being guided by my spirit team. So what I want to see people more in their power and being so connected with themselves, so knowing thyself that all they need is, basically building strong relationship with themselves. So they tune in, they drop into their body, they scan the field, and they are able to identify where is it, what is it, and they transmute it, right? And this will come with years, I'm a living, proof of that. But you have to build strong relationship and with yourself and be so embodied, so present, so centered, right? So that's part of the process. I guide them to work with their consciousness, right? Not check out somewhere in the external world trying to fix something, but more about like, I'm here, I'm listening, I'm available for you, right? To your speak with your inner child, with your ego, with your fears, with your programs, and you reparent yourself, or you're basically that best friend. And when you can harmonize all those fractioned parts of yourself, what you're doing, you're alchemizing, and you're creating unity, harmony within yourself, right? So that's what brings us to the beginning of conversation. There's no quick fix. It's a long-term relationship that you're building with yourself. So you transmute that stuff either on a conscious level as I guide you through this resistance, as you could tap and connect with the stuck emotion and you cry it out, you scream it out, or whatever. The way you process, some people, we process differently. And then we create a new way of being, a new belief system. So that can happen on conscious level, depending where the person is. If the person sometimes they carry so much pain that they numbed out, they cannot identify anymore what they're feeling, where they're feeling. It's just like block. So then me as a Neo-Shamanic healer, I will be supportive of actually scanning myself, their energetical field, going into their human hologram, and with my psychic abilities, like identify, communicating with their higher self, with their spirit team, what's going on. Is it this lifetime, past lifetime? Are there any imprints, implants? Where is it residing? And through neo-shamanic surgery, we can actually address specific frequency where in their bioenergetical field is it residing, on mental level, etheric level, emotional level, astral level, and we can deal with that stuff, and this can be removed.
Wow, this is neo-shamanic ceremony.
Surgery.
Surgery.
So like GP, you go to a doctor, to general practitioner, and they prescribe you something generic. So that can be compared with like Reiki healing. They basically like flush an energy through, and it feels good, right? But with time, the issue that you're experiencing is coming back typically. If you're having some sort of knee pain or whatever, and GP is not able to fix it, you're gonna go to whom? A surgeon. So same thing with neo-shamanic surgery is like we're looking at specific things. So we're actually going to the root problem, to the core wound. If we address that, we remove the trauma or whatever created that fragmentation in the energetical field. And when we remove that, then it collapses all the false belief systems and emotions that that it's creating in your bioenergetical field, right? So if the core wound is I'm not good enough, then it creates a belief system. I cannot do this, then it creates emotions. If we pull that out, all of that becomes irrelevant. If we can pull it out and create wholeness in that field, in that part of you, it's a new belief system that will emerge from that.
Exactly. So it's just basically, if I'm to relate to it, it's just like family constellation.
Yes.
For example, if someone is having fear or this or that, and then we just go to the root cause and just...
Yeah. Yep.
So this, I know the process of family constellation, but for neo-shamanic surgery, do you need to like make them unconscious, or
No.
it's just like straight up, like?
Well, I do so honestly, I don't even need to be, they don't even need to be, so all of this always remote.
Wow.
But they also do not need to be even on a call with me. So what's happening is, ideally, they are relaxed. They're not somewhere in the world stressed out. But I can work on the field remotely, connecting my higher self to their higher self and accessing information with their permission, of course.
I give
right?
you full permission.
So none of that is like, oh, I'm going to go and like operate now. No, it's of course with their permission. I'm just saying that it's not necessary to be in a physical room.
Makes sense.
So, I've done sessions. So for example, I connect with the field. A client already sends me information prior, what they want to work on or what the beliefs are they're experiencing. And maybe in a previous session, we kind of did more of like one-on-one through conversation. And this session, I know it's going to be pure energetical surgery. So I work with their field, and they maybe are asleep or they may be relaxing in this time because we agreed, okay, we're going to do this session. We can have a Zoom connection, but there's no difference if they laid out there. So I work in their field. I access certain information. Their guides come through, or whatever, their ancestors come through. It's very individualized.
This is very interesting. It's like using your psychic abilities to get messages from the spirits.
Yeah, so you're basically, all you do, you connect with your higher self, with their higher self, and I'm a vessel, right?
So
vessel? Like
V-E-S-S-E-L, vessel.
V-E-S-S-E, yeah. I'm a vessel. It's not about me. I'm not your savior. It's the universe is working to me. It's coming to me. No, come to me, through me, and to them.
For sure.
Right? So it's actually, I'm a facilitator. I'm not a healer that is here to save you. The healing is happening. We are designed to heal ourselves, right? I get a wound. If I don't mess with it, if it's pure, there's no dirt, what's going to happen? Physical body is going to heal. We are programmed to heal. We're programmed to return to purity, to wholeness. Same energetical field. Just take out the gunk. Take out the separation programming. So if I'm able to facilitate and work on their field, it's just my guides, the unified field, their guides is coming in, and we're all co-creating this moment of healing for them, removing what's not necessary, removing what's creating the distortion. For some people, their past lifetimes will come through, their ancestors will come through with messages. Sometimes nothing comes through, like specific beings don't come through. I'm just like doing the surgery, cleaning up, restoring the chakra, pulling out stuck emotions or whatever, and returning the chakras to natural full flow, right? So that the energy center can actually receive the energy from the energetical field. Chakra received, then it goes into meridians, and then it goes into nadis, and then it goes into endocrine system to spread that frequency, right? Why so many people are so disconnected? Because their chakra systems, their energetical centers, which each of them is playing a certain role, are blocked. They're not communicating and receiving life force energy from the field. They're just walking this life so disconnected because they're deprived from life force energy, right? So and then after the session, if it was a live session, it speaks through me. If there's something that needs a message to come through them, they hear it. I always do a recording. If it was more a session where we didn't have a call, I'll record like a voice note with what came through, if there were any messages, what I experienced, anything important, basically what happened.
So they can be either conscious or unconscious while you're doing it.
It's never unconscious. Well, it's
sleeping.
100%. You can be asleep. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Super amazing. But two important very questions here. I think for a 21-year-old boy or a girl, if they want to be a person like you, they see you as an idol. They really want to learn because the way you spoke, the things you are into, is maybe amazed by it. So is it possible, or is it through family's generation that you have learned it, or is it some science that someone also can learn it and for sure heal themselves or others around them?
Yeah, good question. So again, there's no right or wrong way. Of course, the family constellation you're coming through plays a huge role in basically where your soul chooses to incarnate. Whether you're incarnating in a family of billionaires, there's certain reason why your soul chose that incarnation, those parents, or you're, incarnating in Siberia or whatever, where pretty much like you have limited resources. Like every soul will have its own path. And for some people, it might be going and reading books and being really mental based and learning a lot of information. For me personally, my path was really individualized in a sense. My soul chose to incarnate in Latvia. It's a northern eastern country after post-Soviet Union, right? So what I experienced as a child, like I'm, deep down inside, I always felt I'm meant to serve people. I always felt something is off with this world. Something is not right. Why everyone is slaving away their life for money to buy things they don't need. Why people are poisoning themselves with alcohol, with smoking, doing all the stuff why, right? So for me, I always was I never fell asleep, so to speak, right? I never fall under the illusion of separation. But of course, I also went into my conditioning, partying when I was 18, but I quickly plugged out of it because I realized this is not what I'm here to do. I started to learn about law of attraction, laws of the universe, listening to Bob Proctor since the age of 13. Wow. So, I'm an ancient soul. I have a lot of wisdom. I'm tapped in, but that's my path, right? And a lot of the things that came to me are because I was not chasing external information. I was not looking for the right answer. I was not like, yeah, of course I was consuming information, but at the beginning, now I don't. But now reflecting, it's like it was part of my journey, and I had to go through a lot of pain and uncomfortability and handle a lot of things on my own, because the family my soul chose to incarnate didn't have a lot of money, was not that emotionally intelligent, didn't have empowering belief system, didn't have a lot of money or whatever. But my soul was like, I'm here to change the world. So I already realized, at the age of 13, 14, if I don't put my big girl's pants on, I'm screwed. I'm going to be like my family. I'm going to be like my culture. And there's no freaking way I'm doing it. So, I stepped into my masculine. I stepped into my leadership. I started figuring out how can I make it happen, making money, working jobs, going to states to sell books door to door, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, knocking on the doors. Like, I've had my share of hustle. But through that, I learned about myself. Through that, I learned that, there are synchronicities. I cannot ignore that there's something beyond me that is orchestrating all of that. So if one tip that I feel kind of is applicable to anyone, no matter where you are, is listening to yourself, being attuned with yourself, right? Because through that, you will understand yourself, who you be, how you function, what are your skills, what are your natural geniuses, basically what is your soul frequency. But you have to be present in your body, embody, versus being external, spread your consciousness somewhere else and be pulled out for many directions, and basically you don't know what you're doing with your life.
That's an amazing journey, by the way. I would like to tell you, it's so fascinating to me. Wow. And then you put this in a very nice way that you have experienced everything, and then you came to a point to understand that what your soul is meant to be, you need to deep dive within, and then just follow. And that's how you got into this.
Yeah.
And someone who's watching this also needs to deep dive within.
Yeah.
And if I have to think of option of how they need to be very far away from these external things that they are right now into, maybe smoking, this, that. And when they pull that off and then try to focus within through meditations, breath work, running, this or that, I think this will lead them to know where the soul is meant to be.
Yeah.
And if it's this, welcome to this world.
Yeah.
Not,
welcome to this paradigm.
Welcome to this paradigm, or become the best athlete in the world, become the best chef in the world, do something amazing for yourself, for the people around you. I just think this is the best way to go.
Yeah, and even, when it comes to like meditation, breath work, there's no right answer. I don't meditate. I don't do breath work. All I do is be really present with myself, love myself, hold myself, listen to myself, feel my emotions. And that's, I make sure I'm heard, I'm seen, I'm loved by myself.
Wow, this is interesting because, this is the separation. Even if you don't do meditation, breath work and this and that, you can still be like her.
Because it's not about practice. The answer is not in the practice. No guru knows what's best for you. The only person who can know what's best for you is you. And you got to listen to yourself first. What is that you uniquely need? Because each and every one's person needs are going to be different based on their programming, conditioning, belief system, traumas they experienced, whatever. You need to be with yourself.
Exactly, so true. For example, there was this one day where usually I personally don't like to meditate so much. So getting up in the morning and I'm like, I want to dance.
Yeah.
So I understand your point where you're coming from, and same. So I thought I don't need to follow that. I need to do something that I love right now.
Yeah.
It's like maybe dancing. Dance it out, do this, do that.
Yeah.
So then it will maybe bring in tune to myself.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it can be meditation. Sometimes you need to dance. Sometimes you need to cry and punch a pillow. You know,
Exactly.
there's no, healing is not just love and light and everything is pretty. No. Yeah.
Bad happens, and then we experience things, and then we come out of it, basically.
Yeah, everything is part of the unified field. There's no good or bad. What matters is that you feel good and aligned.
And I like it, yeah.
And you only get there by allowing the darkness of inside of you to be seen so that it can be transmuted into light. Because basically, unconscious is the shadow. You know, the conscious awareness, that's the light because it's seen in the light. Anything that is unconscious is basically the shadow, right? So we have the light coming in. That's the light, that's the conscious, that's the visible. But behind is the shadow that's unseen. You're not aware of it. But if you tune in into the emotion, because I'm an emotional feeler myself, but some people are more mental, it doesn't matter. But if you allow that information to come through, because all it wants to be is to be seen, heard, and understood. When it's seen, heard, and understood, it stops being in the unconscious, in the darkness, in the unseen. It becomes the light. It's now you are aware of it, you love it, you appreciate it, you understand it's just part of who you be. There's nothing wrong with it, and you make peace with yourself, and that's how you create alignment.
Exactly. So maybe like talk to yourself more and more. I
Yeah.
think I do that. Like sometimes I'm just talking to myself and people are like, who is he talking to?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But to me, it's very like I am my own friend as in like conversate, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, be your best friend, you know, that's all.
Yeah. Very amazing things you told. 3, to be seen, to be heard, and to be understood.
Yes. Yeah.
This is very interesting. So guys, like 3 points you need to make sure that this happens, you know. Whenever you are with yourself, you make sure that these 3, you are just practicing these 3 and making towards the best of each point, then you're sorted. I think then it's like much, much better than where you are right.
Yeah, because so many people, they try to get it from other people. They try to get it from the external world, not realizing external world is incapable of giving this to you. Because if you don't address that internal friction, that internal wound in yourself, no matter how much love you're going to be showered from the external world, you're always going to perceive it that it's not enough or that you're not enough. Like, we got to address the core wound, and which is the emotions, the beliefs, whatever is coming through. It asks for your attention. You know, the inner child or fearful ego is like, please see me, please give me space to speak. That's all I want. Like, I want to be seen by you. I want to, have your love. All parts of you want to be loved by you.
So true, so true.
Yeah.
Just hug yourself.
Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah, exactly.
That's nice.
Yeah, like show yourself some
love.
grace, love, compassion. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think the biggest takeaway from this podcast for people would be give yourself some love. This is very, very important in today's day and age, because what we are seeking is love from our partner, from our parents. Instead of that, why don't we just start loving ourselves? And then radiate this energy, wherein then everyone will do so.
It's about creating unity within yourself first. If you want to create the unity as a leader, if we want to create new way of being in the world, you first have to create it within yourself. You're not going to be able to create it in the outside world if you are full of inner conflict and separation and self-judgment. Like, you create unity within yourself, and then you'll be able to be in unity with others, because guess what? When you understand yourself, you've seen your pain, and you have compassion for it, you know what other people are going through, and you're not going to be judging them. You're going to feel compassion and love for them. You will be able to serve them from overflowing cup, because now you're not in survival and pain yourself anymore.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. Super amazing. Wow, I love it. This is interesting, coming towards the end of this.
Yeah.
I think one best tip that you can give me currently for myself, as I'm trying to grow the best podcast in the world. I want to have amazing people, to educate myself, to learn so many things about myself, about this world, and then how to grow this together with amazing people like you, and to elevate and to have this paradise of the new realm.
Yeah. Well, the best advice I can give you is to address both the energetical stuff, your own consciousness. What do you want? What's the frequency of where you are shooting, or like what your soul is asking you to be available for, right? So addressing any resistance towards having success, having your vision, right? And making yourself available for that like big vision. So addressing the energetical part, doing the energy alchemy so that you can be creating from a place of your internal alignment.
That can be done by, is there any ways, or
again, it's
mindset?
everything that I told you about, looking at any resistance that you might be unconsciously having towards manifesting what you want. Because as you start to grow, stuff will come up. It will be addressed, it will be shown to you. If you're not having it, amazing, you're already there, right? But then also from a business perspective, obviously, it's like putting the strategy into place, who are the best people, and energy-wise, but also like you don't want to be just bringing someone, right? You want to be bringing someone who is highly in alignment with your vision, mission, and values to feed it, because it's, again, this podcast, the show, it's not about you. It's coming through you, and it's serving people. So who are the people the unified field wants you to bring on? And they will be provided, they will come into your awareness. It's like, how can I become available to it, right? So again, for example, not thinking that somebody is better than you or whatever, right? So just really tuning into the frequency of what you're doing with this business, because it's what I call empire of light. You're built, it's not your business. It's something that divine brings through you. But then from practical, like launching it, what's the strategy, what's the business model, what's the marketing, and so on. Like that's easy. When the inner alignment is in, like when you are aligned and you are co-creating with the field, I've seen it times and times again, like you might have amazing systems and amazing strategy. Internally, you're off, you have inner conflict or incoherence. No matter how much you push, it's not going to work. And some people have no systems, but they're so freaking aligned, so in tune, so available, and it's just like magic is happening.
I have noticed one thing that I would love to talk about. I have literally seen people who are still fighting within, but they are also growing. How is that possible? Like that kind of questions me.
Well, I would need to look into more specifically. They're fighting within themselves. Maybe the thing is, no one is healed fully. Yeah. There's always incoherence in some way. I'm not ideal, if I will be fully love and light, and fully healed and fully whole, I will be already source and I will go back. Right, so
everyone is fighting with it, basically.
It's not that it's a fight. There's always more to evolve, to move forward. Some people, souls incarnate, and they incarnate into a family of billionaires. So they're sorted for money. They have all the resources, but they will have struggle or challenges in some other areas that their soul chose to learn about and master in this life. And some people will, have, as my case, I'm very attuned to this like consciousness, energetical. Like I said, even as a child, I was very attuned. I might not be aware of it, but these things come to me relatively easy because that's type of the soul essence of who I am. But I've had money issues and like being not supported and so on. And it's like some people will be successful money-wise, but they have their own issues. And that's fine. That's their path, right? So, you just walk your path.
Amazing. That's great. Super amazing. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mari.
Thank you so much. It was amazing to have you. So much of knowledge, so much of wisdom. And I really love talking about each and everything. And the viewers are going to love it absolutely. And amazing. I think we should have a next part when I am in your country or when you're back in Dubai.
Yeah.
Then we'll deep dive into different areas as well.
For sure, I would love that.
Yes. Amazing, great. So I would love for you to tell your Instagram handle and YouTube, so people would really like to connect with you, and then have so many resources that you keep out there. They should really have it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mari. So my Instagram is at I am Kristina Day. My YouTube channel is called Spiritually Selfish dash Kristina Day. So yeah, there's lots of free content on my YouTube, and yeah, I'll send you some links where people can download some freebies. But yeah, probably one of the best ones will be the guidebook, which is 6 steps to working with your unconscious mind, to undoing like your unlimited beliefs. And there's also a 3-day mini course, which is also free, on embodying your purpose.
Wow. So everyone, this is a very good, nice, because if you can have a taster with her and experience the magic with the conversation and of course this 3-day course, then it can be amazing. So guys, follow, subscribe, like. I'm putting her here in editing. Yes. So yeah, can't wait for people to see you, and
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Mari.